Welcome to Musical Time Machines, a podcast exploring the transformative and transcendental properties of the various musical genres, artists, and performances that we have seen and heard in our lives. Hello, this is Mrs. Walker, and welcome to our final episode with Mr. Gale. If you are new to our podcast, I encourage you to go back and listen to parts 1 and 2. Today we will conclude our conversations about music that has influenced Mr. Gale's life and devices he's used to listen to the music he loved. So speaking of artists, we talked about artists from the past. What are some of your favorite artists of today, meaning like 2020 or 2019? Do you have any?
So when it comes to artists now, I still listen to a lot of the music I used to listen to, and I listen to it in a different way. And that's the great thing about a song. You can come back to it at different times, and it can take on different meanings, and you can hear different elements of it. The classics, the Beatles, the Beach Boys, the Rolling Stones, Neil Young. I still love all that music, but what I love is finding new music. I love talking to people about music.
Did you get to listen to Taylor Swift's new album at all?
I think Taylor Swift's new album is phenomenal. I love 1989, and her new album is great. And no matter what, so I think with music, it's almost like clothes. Like sometimes you feel as though you need to fit a mold. You should listen to music unapologetically, and that's why I am never ashamed, even what people would think would be, music that I would never listen to. I love it. But you should always listen to music unapologetically. But, music today, I was trying to pull up some, because I was talking to my niece she's in 8th grade. She's 14 years old. And she had a lot of good recommendations for me and things that I would listen to and say, ooh, that sounds really good. Things that I'm listening to right now, I think Radiohead is one of the most phenomenal bands in the world. That's nothing new. Amy Mann, I just got into. Taylor Swift's new album is fantastic. My Morning Jacket, The Waterfall 2, they just put out a great album. Mac Miller's new album is really cool. I like that a lot. And just finding, there's so many bands out there that I've never, that have been around forever that I've never heard. So it's kind of just wading through the waters and seeing what you'll come to.
Yes, that's one thing I do love about platforms like Spotify. I could branch out a little more outside of my normal comfort zone and listen to someone totally different. I know I've discovered some indie artists, some I've known about for a while. Like one is named Lake that we really love in our house. They've been around for a little while, but they actually stayed at our house. And they did. Cool. I know, isn't that funny? That's a funny story for another day. But they wrote music for the cartoon Adventure Time, that intro.
Oh, yeah. That's really cool.
The exit music, and but that's one cool thing we learned from that experience is to never be afraid to reach out to a group. You never know. They were in Atlanta. They're normally from like the Oregon area, I believe. And they were doing a tour, and they had a hotel all booked. And yes, kids, please make sure adults should do these things. But they needed a place to stay. It was they had nowhere to go. It's a long story. So we had been chatting with them for a while, and so we felt safe about the whole ordeal. And they stayed at our house, and they left us a bunch of albums and autographed albums, and it was now we have this contact. Which is really cool. So, yeah, small world. Okay, so my last question, first of all, thank you so much, Mr. Gale. You've got me so excited about this new school year, so excited just about music, because COVID it's just been a hard time for performers to not have the normal platforms to perform. And I think it shed a light on what a blessing it is to perform and to share music, and how we might have taken that for granted for a while. We could just do it whenever, and now it's a luxury. It's something I can't wait for the moments again that we can perform and be in the same room and share artistry together. But my question for you, if you are looking back at 6th, 7th, 8th high school, Mr. Gale, you can choose which age range. and you were to give him some advice, whether it's through performance or just in music, like now that I know for me as an adult, if I were to go back and look at myself in middle school and kind of what I thought music was or performing was, I would sit myself down. I would sit Mrs. Walker down, and I would give her a little pep talk, because she was really hard on herself and thought she had to be perfect. And then I was really judgmental of different genres of music that I didn't really understand. I was a little bit of a classical music snob. and I had to learn a lot.
I'm not surprised to hear that.
I know, right? I was a classical music snob that liked grunge music, so it was a little confusing. But I was a little snobby to pop. Yeah, like boy bands. I thought I was better than that. Now I love boy bands.
Yeah,
they're fun. Why not? So, what kind of advice would you give yourself, your middle school self?
I think I would say, don't let the music define you. Let yourself define yourself through the music. I think it's easy to put people in boxes. They look like this, so they listen to this, so they act like this, so they think like this. You look at somebody and you say, oh, well, I know the music that you listen to. Or you look at somebody, you hear about what somebody listens to, and you say, oh, well, they have to be like this because they listen to that. So I wouldn't prejudge music, and I wouldn't prejudge people, and I wouldn't prejudge yourself. I wouldn't let the music define you. You define yourself through the music, and pull from as many different types of songs, because I mean that's what we're doing in life. Just like we're collecting life experiences. With each song we listen to, whether we know it or not, we're bringing it into our lives, and it stays with us, and it kind of welds itself into who we are in our life. That's what I love about music, is when I can listen to a song, and this is like a smell. When you smell something, and it can take you right back someplace or somewhere. When I can listen to music, it takes me back to a point in my life, and I can feel the way I felt in that moment. I can see what I was seeing, and it's like a time warp,
Yes, it is.
time machine. And so the more music that I think you can fill your life with, the more time machines you'll have to go back and feel what it once felt like. Because once you feel it, and once that moment passes, it's nice to keep that memory. And if you can attach it to a song, you'll keep more of those memories with you and be able to travel back to that moment in time. So one of my favorite quotes is, life is like a record. It just goes round and round and round, and we continue to revisit those times and places and sounds and feelings. So I don't know if that's necessarily advice, and I'm sure I would look at myself like I was crazy, but I think I would get along with my middle school self. But I would say, just like the Beatles said, let it be, and just love it.
That's right. Oh, no, I think that was great advice. I feel like I need that advice today. It was so good.
I needed that advice today.
Right? I don't think we outgrow that advice. Maybe we get a little better as we get older. I hope. Oh, well, Mr. Gale, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for just the thoughtfulness in your answers. I know that our kids are just going to love listening to, getting to know you more today. And I know I have enjoyed it myself. So thank you so much for your time. I can't thank you enough.
Thank you. And thank you for providing this opportunity. And I can't wait to hear other people's responses.
Me too. I'm excited.
Yeah. And I can't wait to hear kids' responses. And if anybody ever wants to talk music, stop by my office. You know where I am.
And they should. You should stop by and talk to Mr. Gale about music. Do it.
There was one more. I was going to talk about records quickly if you wanted me.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And I don't know if I asked you. What platforms did you listen to?
The platforms I listened to, of course, I started. I remember records growing up when I was young. I didn't ever necessarily play them, but I remember them. And then it moved to tapes. And then it moved to CDs. So I had a huge tape collection, and I had a huge CD collection, and I love my CDs. And then it moved, when I went to college in 2000, Napster came out and made music accessible.
Remember
and
that.
That was groundbreaking, and it was controversial, and it was all types of things. But in high school, I started a record collection again. Started a record collection in high school, and continue to buy records to this day. I have about 150 records, and there's something, and I recommend for young people some type of physical connection to music, because that's the only thing I miss with the electric, which I have 15,000 songs. I love that piece because the accessibility and the ease. But there's a physical connection to music, whether you're picking up an instrument, whether you're going to a concert, whether you're buying an album and committing to something and having that physical connection. It creates a different experience rather than just pulling up a song on your phone. And that experience, it strengthens that listening, what listening to a song is, and what it does for you emotionally and physically is very cool. So however you're listening to it, I highly recommend having some type of physical connection to music, whether it be through theater, whether it be through the physical CDs or tapes. It's a different experience with each of those types of platforms. So take a taste of them all.
I would agree. I definitely got a taste of each one. I still remember my first CD, Boyz II Men. I still remember. I remember just recording songs off the radio and having to press record when the radio played the song and then stop. And I treasured it. And you would always hear a little bit of a jingle or an ad or a DJ. And I didn't care because I got the song that, either my mom wouldn't buy for me or, I just didn't have. But I still remember my CD case, y'all. We had CD cases. And I can't tell you, having CD albums was a part of the experience. We would open up the case and we would read the lyrics and look at all the artwork in it, and it was part of the music, listening to the music.
Liner notes and all that artwork within those albums. I really miss that piece. But still, like Taylor Swift's new album, her artwork, I love it. I think that's a really beautiful album art. And the piece of mixtapes. We used to make mixtapes and mix CDs for people, which was a way to connect with other people, where you can say, hey, this is what I'm listening to. I want you to listen to it too. I think every single girl I ever dated, I made a mixtape or a mix CD.
It was a sign of romance.
and do that. It's very important process to be able to, limit yourself to 15 songs or 10 songs, and to give that to somebody else. And you can do that through those Spotify playlists and Apple playlists. And you really have to think about, what's my first song going to be? What does this playlist say about me? But more importantly, what am I saying to the other person in its creation? And it's a great way to connect with others by saying, here, listen to this. It'll change your life.
Yes. And try to find out what I'm trying to say to you through this playlist, this mixtape. You have to listen.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
I know. Is that the new phrase? Mix list?
Yeah, which is cool. And even today, what I love is people call me up all the time and say, what are you listening to? And I call people up that I trust and respect. And I say, what are you listening to? And I said, today I had 4 friends that I texted. And as soon as I heard this band this morning, I said, you guys need to listen to this right now. Stop what you're doing and listen to this album from beginning to end.
What a good friend you are, Mr. Gale. That's awesome. That's awesome. I need these people in my life. Send me some music.
I'm always ready for that.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time. I'm sorry I forgot about that question, because that's one of my favorites.
That's a good one. Yeah, I think that platform is really cool. So
yes, it is.
Thank you for listening. This week concludes our delightful interview with Mr. Gale. In the next few weeks, we will have new episodes delivered by our very own students with parents, grandparents, teachers, administrators, and staff. We're looking forward to hearing new voices explore how music connects us all. All the music you hear today is composed by my husband, James Walker. You can find more of his music on SoundCloud through the username Score Runner Productions. Have a wonderful week. Thanks for listening.